I just think the back of this bodysuit goes crazy. And just like that, your pump leggings are pumping. I just get squished out of this one so badly, but they are quite sheer. It kind of holds the girls in place and they don't move. You can just see from the front here, it's just not the most flattering rise for me. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. And today we have Alphalete Drop 3 of the year. And we also have a special Pinto guest appearance before he moves on and goes to his little cat tree. This launch is happening on Saturday, June 28th at noon Central Time. And if I get any information about early access, I would expect there to be early access. They have been releasing early access on their Instagram broadcast channel. And if you have certain reward status, now that they have rewards on their websites, I would expect to be able to shop a little bit sooner. And as always, if my videos help you out, you can use code Kathryn at checkout. It helps me and it also gives you 10% off. So this launch is a big deal because they are launching a new legging. They're launching their pump leggings, which are their most intense leggings yet. I remember when Amplifies came out, I was like, I don't know if I can wear these to the gym. Like, these are a little bit crazy. Now I like live in Amplify. But I've done a couple reviews of under glute compression leggings on the channel. We have the Lazuli Sculpt Seamless, dfyne Impact Seamless, buffbunny Miracle Seamless, and now we have the Alphalete Pump leggings and shorts with some under glute compression and little booty out pouching. The classic compressive style legging that is meant to lift and sculpt the glutes. That being said, I don't always love a super sculpting legging because it can kind of be difficult to fit all bodies. In addition to the pump leggings and shorts, we also have a snatching seamless BBL jacket and some Tenacity pieces that are brought back. Let's get into the colors of the launch. Starting out with the Tenacity colors, we have Neon Coral and Cerulean, which is this nice kind of bluish teal. I definitely find myself gravitating more towards the Tenacity colors of this launch because the seamless colors are very much like giving berry tones in fall, which aren't really my favorites. I'm more of a spring summer color palette. So into the seamless colors, we have Espresso. I am always here for a brown though. Acai Berry, which is this kind of warm toned purple. Emerald Green, which we actually have seen like, I think it was like 2023. And the last seamless color that I do really love is Ultraviolet. So as always, I will have my timestamps ready to go for you guys, but we are going to start out with the Tenacity pieces. Starting out with the Lina bra. We did just review this in the last collection. Just a little overview of the Tenacity fabric. It's kind of a mid-weight double brushed material. Here's an up close of that fabric. It's very dense, which actually makes it pretty good for bras because it has a good amount of hold to it. It also makes it pretty squat proof on the bottoms. If I had to compare it to something, I'd compare it to something like a buffbunny posh knit. I love the fabric. It is a little bit warm in the summertime, so I stick to shorts mostly. Anyways, we have the Lina bra. We did just review it. Soft V front with tank straps and this inverted V along the bottom. And then in the back, you have this cute strappy design. It kind of comes up in a little inverted V in the back. And then these straps can be moved so they can be kind of all to one side or they can come together in the back. Let's do a quick try on of this one. All right, here's the Lina bra. For some reason, I feel like it feels like more of a rounded neckline and before it was more of a soft V. So I'm gonna have to just like compare them real quick. If I don't pop back on, that means they're the same. But I love this bra. It's definitely more of a smaller cup size friendly bra, but because of the shape of it, it actually works for me. So it's a solid low to medium coverage. We have that kind of more rounded this time neckline, slightly inverted V under bust. There is a little tiny elastic at the very bottom that just kind of keeps me secure. And I do get a little bit of spillage. That's why it's more of like a low to medium coverage. But I have two Lina bras from the past collection. I've worn them to the gym, to solid core, and I did not ever fall out of it. I'd say if you have a large cup size, it could be worth a try if you really like it. We have the tank straps, true to size, but if you're in between or you do have a larger cup size, you could size up. And then we have the back, the strappy moment. I like to have the straps together in the middle. This bra is very easy to move in, great for back day. And even though it comes up in the back, it stays down in the front. So I really like this one. It's probably my favorite top of the launch. To go with the Lina bra, unfortunately, this launch is focused on the dip back leggings and shorts, and I tried the dip back leggings in drop 1 of the year. That's when they came out, and I honestly never even wore them to the gym because I just really was not a fan. I don't really love the whole V-back trend, especially if they're gonna be really low and almost showing your underwear. So I did not get a new pair of V-back leggings. I did get a pair of V-back shorts because this is the first time that we've seen these. So the dip back shorts are made of the Tenacity fabric. They have a double thickness waistband with a soft V in the front, no front seam, and a 5-inch inseam. We have a little Alphalete silicone branding on the front right. And then in the back, you have just this very subtle dip back. And for me, if you're gonna do a V back, like, you gotta commit to it or else it almost looks unintentional. And I do feel like this looks kind of unintentional and just like kind of an ill-fitting legging that dips down in the back. So that is a little bit of a bummer. I didn't love the leggings, but there's still potential for the shorts. So there's no top band along the front part of the waistband, but on the back half of the waistband, there is a little elastic right at the top there. And then we have that typical Alphalete Tenacity hidden scrunch in the back. I really do love the Tenacity hidden scrunch. I feel like this type of scrunch gives me the best glute separation, but rarely causes me any camel problems. Here's a close-up of that scrunch. It does stretch out so you don't see the scrunching when you have it on. We have the dip back shorts. So we're getting that mid to high rise, showing a little belly button, not quite at the smallest point of my waist. For me, a true mid rise is going to be kind of like hip length, but everyone defines it differently. So for me, it's right under the small of my waist. We have the double thickness waistband in the front, slight V in the front, pretty short waistband overall, and then no top band in the front half, no front seam, not getting any crotch tension, which is great. And then we have that 5-inch inseam, pretty good length on me. I would say that these are pretty thick thigh friendly as well. I got a lot of stretch in that thigh seam. I squatted in these, didn't get any rolling, but that's gonna depend on your thighs, your length preference. I think I'd be okay in the gym with these, but generally I prefer just like a little bit of extra length. One thing I didn't note is that normally on Tenacity shorts, we have this kind of like curved seam on the side, but with the dip back specifically, we just have a straight seam up and down. I prefer the more curved seam, but we don't have it on this one. Also, overall compression, since I did size up in these, I find these fit very true to normal Tenacity sizing. Whatever size you get in the wrap leggings, I would get in these. Same with the everyday core. The wrap, everyday core, and dip back all fit the same. So I like the medium. Because these are a medium and I think a lighter color, I'm only getting about like a low to medium compression in these. Usually it's a little bit more. Then in the back, we do have that top band. It starts right at the midway point though, so it doesn't really cut in to the sides of the waist, where some of the other ones it starts a little bit further forward, cuts in a little bit more. So I like that this starts at the side. I do think having that top band in the back prevents this area from rolling down, because a lot of times these dip back, V-back shorts and leggings, they can roll, and I don't really get that in these. I have about like a 1/4 inch until my underwear shows. So if we squat a little bit, I did do a full squat test, so you'll be able to see it there. I'm not actually showing any underwear, but it does definitely come close. That being said, I'm still not super close to like my crack because I'm wearing like a mid-rise underwear. So anyways, we have that dip back. We have the slight V seams here, but they're not super contouring around the glutes. So I don't think these are like especially flattering on the glutes. They do get a little bit of an extra point because of that hidden scrunch back there. So medium to high, but not as good as the wrap leggings for me. This fabric does have a little bit of cellulite coverage, but just not as much in lighter colors. You can just see from the front here, it's just not the most flattering rise for me. I do feel they're more flattering with like a solid high rise, but they're just not gonna stay up like this. They are meant to be more of a mid to high rise. Honestly, I do feel a lot better in these than the leggings, but I'm just not into the dip back. I guess you really do get like a lot of open back moment with the V up here and the V down there, but let me know what you guys think. I did just want to quickly throw on the Tenacity dip back legging. This is the color that launched earlier this year. I generally recommend sizing up in Tenacity bottoms. So generally with Alphalete, I am a small, but in the Tenacity bottoms, I wear a medium. So these are the medium, and I do actually have a pair of smalls of the dip back leggings. You can see they just look pretty small. So we'll do a little side-by-side comparison, and then we'll just quickly chat about the dip back leggings. They're the same structure as the shorts, except they have about a 27-inch inseam. That subtle dip back with the scrunch in the back as well. So let's try these on. All right, here at the dip back leggings, this is the small, and these do run pretty similarly to the everyday core leggings and the Tenacity wrap leggings. These just are a little bit small. You can see it kind of wanting to cut into my waist a little bit, so I do prefer the medium, but I honestly just don't really love the dip back leggings much at all. So first of all, we have the mid to high rise. I do show some belly button. Over time, if I were to work out, it might show even a little bit more. So personally, I consider this mid to high rise. We have no top band, soft V front, no front seam. I get a little bit more crotch tension in the small than I do the medium, but I still wouldn't really say I get camel in these. Overall, about a medium compression in these, a medium thickness, straight up and down side seam. And then in the back, we have that slight V, we have that hidden scrunch, and then we have the dip back. I feel like in the small, I actually am at less risk of seeing my underwear when I squat, just because it's a little bit more snug. In the mediums, I do get dangerously close to exposing my underwear. So you don't necessarily have to size up. I am more compressed and a little bit squeezed at the top of the waist in this one, but in some areas I actually prefer the small better. That dip back goes just a little bit above the sacrum for me. Overall, I honestly wouldn't actually say these are too short glute friendly, because the back rise seam, without even pulling it up too much, doesn't sit too low on the glutes. So I'd say that these are more of a medium glute friendly legging. You do get some cellulite coverage in the Tenacity, and then these are about a 27-inch inseam. The rise in the front is just kind of awkwardly low on me. The small, you can tell, is just squeezing me, and I just don't really like the dip back. Next, we have the Lina Bodysuit, which takes the Lina sports bra that I love and made it into a bodysuit. So I'm so excited to try this. Made of the Tenacity fabric. I was told not to size up in this one, so hopefully the small is good, even though I tend to wear a medium in Tenacity bottoms. So we have that soft V neckline like the Lina sports bra has. That little dart detail on the side to kind of give it a little bit more of a round shape. A little hourglass moment. I hate when I have a bodysuit and it's loose in the waist, so hopefully this is nice and snug along the waist. Little seam to separate the top and the bottom. I also like that, or else it just gets to be too much. No front seam, and extended gusset that goes all the way down the inseam on the shorts. I measured about a 5.5-inch inseam on the short. And then, like I was saying, in the back you have that same strap design as the Lina bra. So these straps are movable. I do like to wear them like this. I think it's like a cute little star pattern going on, and then you can kind of see what's going on the inside of the bodysuit. So the bra situation is basically identical to the Tenacity Allure bodysuit, where we have removable cups and an underbust elastic, but it's all kind of sewn in there. So here you can see the removable cups, and then there is an elastic under the bust, but it's not a full separate shelf layer. Sometimes that is enough for me though. I like that there's at least an underbust elastic. That does help a little bit with the lifting. Then we have this V back, contoured seams around the glutes, and then the classic Tenacity hidden scrunch. So let's try it on. Okay, I like the bodysuit. This fits way better than every other Tenacity piece. It fits very true to size. If anything, I could use even a little bit more compression in some areas, so stick with your normal size, or honestly, whichever one is smaller, I'd probably go with that. So we have the shape of the Lina bra on the top. We have that soft V. I do get a little bit more coverage in the bodysuit compared to the top because there's no risk of spilling out the bottom. So I'd say medium coverage. Tank straps, we have that underbust elastic, which I do feel like is definitely helping. Support is low to medium. I wouldn't do anything high impact in this. We have that seam along the front that kind of dips down a little bit below my natural waist, but at the sides it is at my natural waist. The bodysuit is a 5.5 inches and also pretty thick thigh friendly. I'm not really getting too squeezed. I don't anticipate any rolling. The waist area is one area where I do feel like it could be a little bit more snatched. It is 2 layers of fabric on this top half to accommodate for the bra, and then 1 single layer on the bottom. And then in the back, I just think the back of this bodysuit goes crazy. Like the combo of the bra with the V, with the scrunch, like it just all comes together, and it's such a cute design. I'm a sucker for a strappy back, so to see it in a bodysuit is even better. I did move the straps in, but you can move them out. I honestly don't really think it looks that good that way, so I much prefer wearing them together. We have that V back, but it's a lot higher of a V back than the dip back leggings. Like, it goes a good 2 inches above my underwear, so you're at no risk of exposing anything when you squat. We'll see in the squat test. I think having a scrunch really helps make a bodysuit more long torso friendly, because you just really give yourself a little bit more torso space. So honestly, medium to high on the booty scale, I do think it's flattering. The one thing that gets me is I do feel like the straps are just a little bit long on bodysuits because of my long torso. You'd think because I have a long torso I would need more strap room, but my torso is long from like here to here, not from here to here. So that's one reason why I love an adjustable strap bodysuit, because I do feel like I could bring this up a little bit, but I do think this is totally wearable for me. And overall, I'd say this is mostly long torso friendly. All right, next section, we are moving into seamless. This is probably what everyone wants to know. We are starting with the Sandy bra. So there's only one seamless bra in this collection. We have one seamless bra and one top. And unfortunately, I do think they're both on the minimal coverage side. I'd like to see them balance that a little bit better, because it does seem like all the bras are kind of itty bitty. That being said, the Sandy bra does work for me. So I got a size small and a medium, and I would absolutely recommend sizing up at least one size in this one because they are small. So the bra is made of classic Alphalete seamless polyamide polyester elastane blend, but we'll get into this a little bit more with the new pump leggings. The seamless material is a little bit more densely knit, and I think that's kind of why these are running a little bit smaller, because normally Alphalete seamless is very stretchy and accommodating, and I'd say that these bras, this material is just much more rigid. So here we are with the Sandy bra, very much just like a little triangle cinched shape, V neckline, inverted V along the hem, spaghetti straps that are adjustable in the back. We have removable cups, and I like that they made the cups take up the entire space. I think they look like triangle cups. Honestly, the cup pad selection for this bra is on point. I hate when a brand does something that's like this shape and then puts like a circle or oval cup pad in it and it just doesn't fill out or provide any shaping. So the triangle cups they put in this bra fit perfectly. And even though this is an itty bitty bra, I have worn this bra to the gym twice now and I did not have to adjust at all. Like, the girls were girling. We had some cleavage, but I didn't even have to like tuck myself back in once. So I would consider the fit locked and loaded, if you know what I mean. The back is very simple, and we do have the white silicone A logo on the top left there. I prefer this to be in the back, not the front. I also will do a quick side by side of the small versus the medium. The medium fits snugly, so I'd say this runs at least one size small. So yeah, let's try it on. Okay, so it seems the compression on the leggings also applies to the bras because this is the most comfortable one yet in the ultraviolet, which is the stretchiest of the colors that I have. In terms of the bras, I'd say emerald green is the most compressive, then acai berry, then ultraviolet. So this is the ultraviolet in the medium. I think this fits really well. You can see we kind of have this little pinched cami shape. We have the little scrunch in the middle here with this V-neck. Definitely a cleavage moment. Honestly, this bra is very flattering. I was feeling myself in the gym. I was like, okay, who is she? And like I said, 2 workouts, 0 falling out of this one. So I'm definitely taking this little purple set for a spin later this week. The purple set is by far my favorite. In terms of coverage, I'd say low to medium coverage. In the medium, I'm getting good side boob coverage, but you do get pretty scooping cleavage. And then I do get full under boob coverage. I don't feel like I'm falling out of the bottom at all, so that's good. And then the support is honestly more than it looks like because this fabric is pretty compressive. It, like I said, locked and loaded. It just kind of holds the girls in place and they don't move. Like, even in terms of spillage, I only have actually a little bit. Then we have the logo here. You can see an area where the fabric density is a little bit different on the side. I think it's a little stretchier here and a little bit more compressive along the back area. Then we have the straight up and down straps. I don't love straight up and down straps, but they didn't fall off. But these are like the most difficult straps to adjust ever. One of my pet peeves with this bra, I was trying to adjust the straps and it's adjusting a little bit easier on this purple, but on the other 2 colors, I had to like feed the extra fabric through the little loop here and it took me a good amount to adjust the strap. One of my main issues with this whole bra is lined with this piping. It's basically a double thickness of the seamless fabric, but because this version of the seamless is just a little bit more dense, a little bit more structured, compressive, it honestly makes it quite uncomfortable, especially in this area. I did get some redness after working out in it, and you really feel the stiffness of this bra. Again, I will say it is quite a bit better in this ultraviolet color compared to some of the other ones, but it's just not the most comfortable seamless bra. Normally a seamless bra is very stretchy. This one's very rigid. The pros of that is the girls are not moving. The cons of that is it can be a little bit uncomfortable. And again, definitely size up. I do feel comfortable in the medium. Okay, you guys, it is time for the pump leggings. So I'll be going over all of the features of the pump leggings and then we'll try them on and then I'll compare them to basically every legging ever. I guess this is what happens when Alphalete comes out with a new legging. I gotta compare it to everything. So we have the classic Alphalete seamless material, except this one is actually denser and more compressive than regular Amplify. So I would still consider this like a stretchy seamless, but putting this on, I'm definitely like more compressed, like medium to high or even high compression. It still has significantly more stretch and is less limiting than something like the dfyne seamless. But if you're used to the soft stretchy compression of Amplify Contour, and like Honor Active Effortless, this is more dense. Here's an up close of that fabric. You can almost see just a little bit more structure to it and it just doesn't stretch quite as much. This is the old emerald green Amplify, and here's an up close and just a lot more stretch. For the waistband, we have the classic Amplify 3-tiered waistband. So there's 3 levels of ribbing. The highest compression is at the top and the lowest is at the bottom, so it seamlessly transitions into the body of the legging. Compared to a traditional Amplify rise or an Amplify contour rise, which tends to be high or ultra high, this is more of a mid to high. They call it mid rise, but for me, mid rise is like full belly button on the loose. These basically just dip down a little bit, but still are mostly at the small of my waist, so I consider them a mid to high. Another new addition, we also have the vinyl logo on the front of the leggings, in addition to the word mark on the back. So I'm personally not a fan of having two logos. I'm always a fan of keeping things clean and minimal, so I wish that this wasn't here. I actually like tried to peel it off and I actually got like a little bit off of it, but I think trying to peel it off is just gonna make it look worse. The next feature is it has that typical kind of mesh panel along the side that Amplify has, except this one has that kind of curve contour detail that those Tenacity side seam leggings have. So it does give you a little extra curve there. And then we get back to the craziness in the back of these leggings. So the waistband is the same, and then you have the highest compression region right under the glutes here. And I would say normally with an under glute compression legging, the little booty area is usually a thinner material, but this little booty area is the same composition as the rest of the leg. So with that, I do feel like it kind of squishes the glutes down a little bit, and I think it needed a little bit more of a lightweight material. That's something that like the buffbunny Miracle Seamless has, the dfyne has, that just allows it to not quite squish the glutes down. But I'll just show you the under glute compression here. It goes basically up into that scrunch, so the scrunch kind of creates this little hourglass effect, which I'll go into in a second. But that under glute region goes about like 3 inches down the leg until it transitions into back into the normal material. And then the scrunch. This is a very different scrunch than a typical Amplify scrunch. I'll put some photos on the screen to compare this new, what they call the hourglass scrunch, compared to a dfyne scrunch, and then compared to the regular Amplify Revive, Amplify Contour scrunch. The traditional Amplify scrunch is almost like a little collection of seams. It's very thin. And when they first came out with the Amplify, I'd say that it was a little bit more delicate. I have never had any of my Amplify scrunches rip on me, so it was never an issue for me, but this is definitely a more durable scrunch that is also not going to stretch out. So it's most similar to the dfyne style scrunch, except it actually comes out a little bit at the bottom. So it goes out, in, and then out, kind of like an hourglass, like they were saying. So that's what kind of sets it apart there, and then really allows it to like shape that little under glute area. I believe I measured around a 24-inch inseam. That's pretty typical for seamless because they have a lot of vertical stretch. So let's try these on and chat about them. Okay, I do just want to show the process of getting these on because it is a little bit different than Amplify. You just kind of want to position the under glute contour, which will probably come up a little bit too high. And instead of like usual, we're kind of pulling up and into the cheeks, you're kind of just pulling, you just pull the side into the cheek a little bit. And the scrunch just kind of wants to sit a little bit more easily than the Amplify scrunch. Not that I find that one hard, but it just really does want to just sit like that. So now that I've adjusted, I have a little bit too much fabric here, so I just pull it down a little bit, and just like that, your pump leggings are pumping. Okay, so here are the leggings in the acai berry 3-tiered compressive waistband. I'd say overall about a medium to high compression, maybe even high compression in this color. I do feel like the waistband is high compression, but I don't feel like it's overly tight. With a lot of the Amplify ultra high rise, because they're meant to go at a smaller point of your waist, they're really snatching up there. They let it out a little bit when they're supposed to be a little lower rise. That being said, this one, I still think it's mid to high rise. I show a little bit of belly button, but it's really almost at the small of my waist. So I'm totally okay with the rise here. I think even on my long torso, it's flattering. No front seam. You have that logo there that I'd prefer wasn't there. Some people like it though. I'd say compared to Amplify, because you don't pull so much fabric up, I don't get quite as much Barbie crotch as before, but like any seamless legging, you are going to get some, but you still get a lot of crotch gathering. The material, you can tell, is a little bit more structured, which is going to give you a little bit more compression, a little bit more durability. I do feel like these attract pet fur more than I had expected. They do hold on to pet fur a little bit, not as much as like a brushed legging, but definitely more than a performance legging. It just kind of gets into the fibers a little bit more. Then we have that side mesh panel that curves a little bit. I'll compare it to just the classic Amplify, but you do get a little bit more of a curve. Then we can kind of see the glute lift from the side. The under glute panel does go onto my glutes, and it honestly goes onto most people's glutes. There's definitely a fine line in finding the exact right place for a compression panel to go, because so many of them are either too high or too low, and I honestly hate when it's too low because you get a double butt, so I'd rather have it be a little bit too high, but ideally it's in the exact right place. But that's so difficult because everyone's body is a little bit different. That's why compression leggings are so hard. But anyways, here's a straight on view of the back. I do think these are a little bit more short glute friendly because the waistband goes a little bit below. My hip bone is right here and the waistband goes a little bit below. So for me, I feel like they just kind of make my glutes look a little bit shorter. I'm more of a medium to long glute girly, not super long, but definitely not short. I do feel like these aren't quite made for me. I prefer how Revive leggings look personally. A little bit more medium glute friendly and just a little bit of compression, but you don't get too much. So not only is this a little bit low, but the under glute compression comes up a little bit high. It's not crazy lift, but it's definitely something, a little bit of shaping. You are going to get a really good cellulite coverage here because the fabric is just very dense. There's actually 2 zones of compression here, like a very dense region, a little bit less, and then goes into the normal material. And then we can see that hourglass scrunch. It just sits really nicely between the cheeks, then comes out a little bit at the bottom, just kind of rounding everything out. I think on some people this is a high on the booty scale. For me personally, I think it's a medium to high. It just kind of squishes me down a little bit too much. And then the full length view, I am basically able to get a full length out of these. So let me know what you guys think. Are we into the compressions? Are we not into the compression leggings? Just wanted to quickly show the brown versus the acai berry. I am getting more stretch out of this brown, and I just feel like the stretchy ones just fit me a little bit better. Yeah, I don't get quite as much lift, but I also don't get squished down as much on the glutes. That was one last thing I wanted to mention. I just felt like the glute area should be a little bit thinner, not the same texture as everywhere else. And then in terms of the wedginess, you do still feel it when squatting, but it's not nearly as bad as something like a dfyne seamless. So my final seamless bottom rankings amongst the leggings and the shorts: most compressive, I think emerald green. Then we have acai berry. Then we have espresso and ultraviolet. Those are honestly pretty similar. And then white is going to be the least compressive. So if you like something stretchier, kind of gravitate towards this side. If you like something a little bit more compressive, gravitate a little bit more towards the other side. Okay, now time for some comparisons, as if we needed to make this video any longer. We've been talking about these leggings for a while, but I just went through and looked at all of the try-ons between all of the leggings. Comparing the Alphalete pump leggings to the dfyne impact leggings, I think they're pretty similar in terms of glute space. Both of those, for me, the compression area does go up onto my glutes. Because dfyne has that sewn on waistband, you definitely get a little bit more contouring of the upper glutes. The dfyne glute area is a lot thinner than the rest of the legging, but the rest of the legging is a lot more compressive. So personally, I do prefer the pump leggings compared to those, just because I don't really like how stiff the dfyne leggings are. I think dfyne does give a little bit more of a lift, but I just am a lot more comfortable in the pump leggings. dfyne overall is a little bit shorter of a rise as well. Comparing something like the lazuli sculpt seamless, those just have that really dense compression band around the thighs. Those I always find sit way too low, and the glute space is honestly huge, so those don't fit me very well to begin with. The glute area is a lot thinner. It's more of a traditional scrunch. I don't know how much lift you get out of those. It's more like shelf. And again, every time I work out in those in the gym, they slide down and give me a double butt. Buffbunny Miracle Seamless are a good amount higher rise than the pump seamless. Like the dfyne, the Miracle Seamless also have a little bit more contouring of the upper glute area because of the sewn on waistband. Miracle Seamless also doesn't have a true scrunch. It's just a shorter back rise seam that sits between the cheeks. And the overall leg fabric of the Miracle Seamless does have some structure, but it's not as compressive as the pump. I actually preferred to size down in the Buffbunny Miracle Seamless, and that made the glute space a lot better because there is a lot more glute space, but the glute fabric on that legging is a lot stretchier too, so I definitely feel a little bit more squished overall in the pump leggings compared to those. Lastly, just comparing these to the Revive leggings, I honestly think the Revive leggings are very slept on. They have a very similar rise height to the pump leggings, but Revive is more of a ribbed waistband, and Revive has a little bit more panel detailing like we saw in the original Revival leggings, and instead of having a full underglute panel, there's just this little triangle of underglute compression kind of at the inner thigh to underglute area that just gives you a little bit of lift without having the whole band and kind of looking a little more obvious. I just feel like it fits most glute lengths a little bit better. So for me, Revive can't be beat, but after trying on different colors of pump leggings, I will be wearing them, and I'm always open for my mind to change. I actually wasn't sold on Amplify leggings the first time I tried them, and now I have so many pairs of Amplify leggings, and they are still just like a holy grail. Like, I will remember those leggings forever. Like, the way I feel in those leggings, words cannot describe. So we'll see how my mind changes, but I do think they could make some tweaks. Next, we have our pump shorts. So basically all the same features of the pump leggings, just in short form. So I'm gonna mostly skip through everything there. Same fabric breakdown and everything. And they also decided to come out with white shorts. Alphalete, I think, is my only white legging that I've ever owned that's just like a plain white legging from their Pulse collection years ago. Because the pump fabric is a little bit more dense, they decided to make a white short. So we will definitely be squat testing this. I also really like that they made the branding gray, so it's not quite as harsh. But yeah, we have a white short, which is kind of crazy. I feel like this is just asking to get dirt on it, unfortunately. So for the shorts, I was silly and I got all size small. So for reference, I'm basically a true size small, and they launched the Revive shorts earlier this year and they fit me absolutely perfectly in a size small. I was assuming that these were going to be similar to the Revive shorts. These definitely run a little bit smaller and the inseam isn't quite as long. In Amplify contour shorts, I prefer a medium, and in Revive shorts, I prefer a small. I only got size smalls in these, and I do think they're a little bit snug. And then as for the inseam, they said a 5-inch inseam, but they also say that a Revive short is a 5-inch inseam, but the new pump shorts are really a 4.5, and the Revive shorts are 5.5, almost a 6. So if you haven't tried the Revive shorts yet, I am die hard for these. I love these so much. So I was bummed to see that these are supposed to be the same inseam, but they're definitely not. And I have 2 pairs of Revive shorts, and they are both like 5.5 to 6-inch inseams, and I got 3 of the pump shorts and they're all around 4.5. So it's not like a color thing, it's just like generally these are just a little bit too short. So I prefer something a little bit longer, but anyways, let's try these on. All right, as much as I'd like an all white fit, this is just not something I would ever wear out of my house. We gotta draw the line somewhere. I wore the yellow contour Amplify shorts, and those I couldn't really see my underwear under. These you can see the underwears. They are quite sheer. I'll touch on this in a second when I try on the purple shorts, but I'm actually starting to think that the small actually is better. Definitely better than the contour shorts in the small. Anyways, just wanted to quickly show the white. You can definitely see the nude underwear underneath. Definitely a little more sheer in the cheek part than the underglute part, so I think that really makes it stand out. Okay, here we are with the pump shorts. So honestly, kind of like Revive, I think I actually prefer the shorts to the leggings. This is something I feel like I experience a lot with these compression leggings. It's really hard to get compression leggings where you need them to be. So sometimes they just don't end up really fitting me well. But the shorts, I barely have to adjust these, and I feel like they just like kind of sit right into place without me even having to do much adjusting. And I have worn the shorts to the gym once. I wore the green pair and I really had minimal rolling. So if I had to rank the shorts that fit me the best, I'd say Revive fits me the best. They have a really great length. The length is really good on me, and I just feel like they fit very true to size. Not really squeezing my thighs. Pump, I'd say, is second best. I think the length is a little bit better than contour, and I get less sausaging of the thighs. And I'd say in a size small, contour fits me the worst. They roll basically instantly in a size small, and I get quite a bit of squishing under the thighs. The medium is definitely better though, and you're not getting all the shaping that comes with pump. Okay, in terms of overall compression, if I had to rank the colors, green is going to be most compression. I felt like a high compression to me. Ultraviolet feels like a medium high compression to me with a little bit more stretch, and then white is the stretchiest, but still about a medium to high compression. So it's kind of my color order. The ultraviolet are my favorite. I feel like this is the best balance of stretchy and compression. 3-tier waistband. The shorts are actually hitting me a little bit higher than the leggings. That tends to happen. Again, just easier to get them on. So these are basically actually hitting me at a high rise of the small of my waist. No front seam, and then we have that 4.5-inch inseam. I do wish it was just a little bit longer, but I have worn these to the gym, and I did experience very minimal rolling. This is the size small, and while they are a little bit snug, I'd recommend sizing up if you're in between, but I actually think that I can do the small no problem, because if I size up to the medium, then you're not getting the underglute compression. You can see a slight curve of that little mesh panel. And then we have the back, and honestly, I barely have to adjust these shorts to get into the right position. And I feel like another reason why these feel a little bit longer than they are is because with the traditional Amplify scrunch, you're pulling a lot of fabric from up the leg into the glutes, but with the pump, you're just kind of pulling from the side into the glutes. You don't pull up and into the glutes. I honestly feel like the shorts are a little bit more flattering than the leggings. I feel like these are definitely a high on the booty scale. I am getting some lift. I am getting a little bit of thigh squishing. I kind of need that for a little bit of lift. Not getting a ton of lift in this color, but I'd rather have it be like this than be too tight overall. I like that this color has more stretch over the glutes, so it doesn't squish them down there. Here's a little view straight on so you can kind of see that hourglass scrunch. And I just feel like the scrunch on the shorts sits between my glutes just a little bit easier. This scrunch compared to a traditional Amplify scrunch, I just get a lot less of a wedgie feeling. So I'll do a couple squats and just see if anything moves. That tends to be how I get rolling. But I'm getting the teeniest bit, but really nothing too bad. If I were to make any changes, I still think I'd bring that compression area down a little bit because it does kind of come up onto everyone's glutes. But this is a nice like medium to shorter glute friendly option. It sits kind of lower on my hips. Push tanks are back. The material that the push tanks are made of, I would say, is more similar to a classic Amplify. It does feel a little bit stretchier. We've reviewed this before, so just quickly going over, we have a scoop neckline, kind of a waist length top, kind of a dipped scooping back with adjustable spaghetti straps. Then you have this ribbed contour detailing under the bust that is very flattering. You do have a full seamless shelf liner, so it seamlessly transitions into a supportive ribbed underband, but there's no cups and there's no space for any cups. And I do feel like this is a little bit more for the smaller busted girlies. I would like to see a version with a little more coverage for the larger cup sizes. So let's try it on. All right, we have the push tank. Alphalete, we need a push tank for the D cup and up girlies because I just get squished out of this one so badly, but I can't just size up because then it'll be loose and then that ruins the point. Anyways, the push tank feels more like an Amplify. Seamless because it is a little bit stretchier, but just a little bit softer. We have that under bust contour, which is super flattering. This looks so good on these smaller cup size girlies. It just really is a risk for me to wear it. We can see how much I'm being pushed out. I'm being pushed out here, everywhere. So it's low coverage, low support. Will I still try to wear this one to the gym just so I can wear this full outfit together? Probably. It also doesn't have any cup pads, so it just kind of squishes me without giving me any shape. It is a waist length top. It hits right at the small of my waist and it actually is fitting pretty well. I'm not getting any flaring, any looseness at the bottom, so I like the fit that way. Straight up and down straps that are adjustable. Then it also drops down a little bit in the back, and I think this logo is different than before. I prefer just the Alphalete wordmark logo to this new logo personally, because Alphalete just keeps changing their logos over the years, and the only constant is the word Alphalete, and I just like that. And then we have gold hardware with the adjustable strap and to attach the strap to the back. Lastly, for the seamless, we have an Alphalete BBL jacket. So this is the shape jacket. Feels like the same seamless construction as the pump leggings. Got a little bit more of a dense compressive moment. It's a full zip jacket with a mock neck collar, long sleeves, and it is a seamless material, so it has a couple little seamless details in the back. So here's some of that seamless detailing, and then there's also some ribbed panel detailing for compression along the sides. It's a locking zipper, and this is a very simple jacket. I just posted my BBL jacket video, or just active jacket video, because most of them were not a BBL fit. I'd say this is most similar to that Tala jacket, except this one's a little bit shorter and just overall pretty similar construction. They both don't have pockets. I don't know if it's like possible to make pockets on a seamless jacket. You know, I hate to see a jacket without pockets because like what's the point? I guess the point is just snatching, but spoiler alert, I don't really feel like super snatched in this one, so let's try it on. So it's definitely a snug, seamless fit. I feel like I feel the armpit tightness most when it's unzipped. I have heard a couple girls saying that they find the shoulders to be really tight, but I do have some delts and some lats. I don't have particularly wide shoulders, so for me it wasn't an issue. And even though it's compressive, it is seamless, so it's still pretty stretchy. So my suggestion is just stay true to size. So here she is, unzipped. And then this does have a locking zipper, which is amazing. The Aura Sculpt jacket had the same locking zipper. So this jacket wanted to be a BBL fit, but unfortunately it's not. I've seen it on multiple models and on myself, and it's loose at the bottom. This is just not giving me the BBL snatching. It's literally skin tight everywhere except for there. Like I said, I just tried jackets in my workout jacket video, and the only two BBL fit jackets were the Honor Active Soft Motion and the Tala Skin Luxe. This is very similar to that Tala Skin Luxe, except this one's a little bit shorter, and the Tala Skin Luxe was more snug along the waist, and this one is not. So anyways, we do have that locking zipper, so wherever you put it, it's gonna lock. So if you wanna do like kind of like a lift moment, like right under the bust, locks in place, it's not gonna move. I kind of like right where that Sandy bra kind of dips down, because that's just honestly like so flattering. Look at this. But you also can zip it up all the way, which personally I wouldn't do. I wish this had the neckline of the Aura jacket because I just love that neckline. Even though I have a larger bust, I have no problem zipping it up. So the sleeves are plenty long. We can see some of the details along the front of the jacket. You have some seamless details, some rib details here. You have the Alphalete logo on the top left. And then the back of the jacket has some more seamless details as well. The sleeves can't go over my hands, no thumb holes. I don't know if you can do a thumb hole on a seamless jacket. Perhaps you can't. Then in terms of the length, they said on the website high hip. So I'm gonna roll the leggings down to where my hips are, and I would consider this between high hip and waist, but it's not quite high hip. With the waistband of these leggings, I personally do show some skin. You can see with me moving, lifting my arms, I am showing some skin. I do have a very long torso, so that's not going to happen with everyone, but I wish that it was a little bit longer just so we could have a little bit more overlap. I think that just adds to the effect with this kind of jacket. So yeah, overall true to size. I would say it's a skin tight fit with just a little bit of looseness right at the bottom here. And then our last section just has one item. We have the Varsity baby tee. We have that same cotton elastane blend as the traditional Alphalete baby tees. I'm wearing it right now. This one's just more heavy on the branding. So it has a cotton feel, but it has stretch to it. We have a crew neck, Varsity Alphalete branding. When I measured these two next to each other, this one does look about 3/4 of an inch longer, but I have also washed and dried this one. So overall it is a very similar fit to the regular Alphalete baby tees, but let's try it on. Okay, so here's the baby tee. I tend to wear these for lifestyle, so I just have a regular bra on underneath. And yeah, I do feel like this one is not only fitting a little bit longer, but also a little bit more snug in the waist than the regular baby tees. So I think that these are a little bit more of a snug fit overall. They do have good stretch to them, so I still think this fits me well in the size small. It's just a little bit more slim fitting. So if you sized down previously for a snatching fit, I don't really think you have to. Anyways, these are hitting at a nice waist length. We have that branding across the front, crew neckline, short sleeves, and then just very simple in the back, not much going on. But yeah, I'm liking the new updates to the fit. Material still feels like a nice like stretch cotton, almost a little bit on the performance side. Okay guys, that is everything launching. Now on to top picks. Lina bra, always gonna be a top pick for me. I think the elite combo would probably be Lina bra and pump shorts, especially in that ultraviolet purple color, are at the top of my list. I just kind of been preferring the way that the pump shorts fit me over the leggings, but again, everything's gonna fit everyone a little bit differently. That's what's so hard about compression leggings. I'd like to give you guys an idea of how things are gonna fit, but it really is hard with these like glute sculpting shapewear style leggings. Personally, the dip back leggings are not for me, neither are the dip back shorts. It's a bummer, but they just aren't. I do really like that Lina bodysuit, even though the straps are just a little bit long for me. The sandy bra works for me, just a little bit uncomfortable, and the push tank just doesn't have enough room for the girls for me, but it is super cute. And then the shape jacket, I just wish it was a little bit tighter at the bottom. So a lot of little tweaks. Anyways, this is all launching on Saturday, June 28th at 12 p.m. Central Time. And as always, you can use my code Kathryn for 10% off. I always appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys, even for watching this video. If you did make it all the way to the end, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.